thanks to Helmut Marko, who I got to say for this podcast, because giving us things to talk about, because Helmut Marko just says stuff and he's always just saying things. And this one's really interesting, actually. So Helmut Marko has been quoted saying that he thinks basically Max Verstappen would take a pole position with a Haas or AlphaTauri in wet/dry conditions, which, to be fair, K-Mag kind of did, but it wasn't wet/dry and it just started raining. He said, if such conditions exist, he, Max Verstappen, puts an AlphaTauri or Haas, which is a qualifying car, on pole. So, does Max Verstappen...
I just want to know what question was even asked from Taff.
Yeah.
He probably asked, like, what's your favourite breakfast cereal?
Let me tell you something.
Max's favourite is Cocoa Pops.
Do we think Max would put a AlphaTauri or Haas? Because look, Hulkenberg's put a Haas into Q3 6 of 12 races this year. Yuki's got to Q3. I don't know how many times Yuki's got to Q3, to be honest. I'm not sure. The AlphaTauri's not been in there very often. The Haas can be quick in qualifying trim. I don't think AlphaTauri, I think that's too big of a ask. A Haas, again, given Hulkenberg's performances, I think the big thing is...
conditions different as well, did he say?
Well,
it's drying
if such conditions exist... What
does that mean?
Like on the moon or something? I don't know what. Like where?
Like all of the Dutch orange flares go on track, and Max has his special visor.
No one else can see it.
No one else can see.
Basically, the Dutch Grand Prix. Which
pretty much.
Example.
I mean, I feel like that's the sort of stuff that like a boxing promoter says, about his fire. It's just like he's gonna knock his head off completely. He's gonna land in the back rows and stuff like that. That's the sort of stuff that people say about their driver to
hype him up
exactly, and put the fear into everyone else. So, but I just personally can't see it as good as Max is. Are we putting someone else in the Red Bull?
Well,
facts.
But that's the thing as well. He's got to beat Alonso in an Aston. He's got to beat Lewis in a Mercedes. He's got to beat Charles in a Ferrari. All in a Haas.
There's got to be a limiting factor, right? There has to be, because how far is a Haas or Verstappen?
Sorry.
Wait, what did you
we both clocked it at the same time. He's still blocked by a Haas, by the way.
What? You're blocked by Haas?
Blocked by Haas.
Ouch. Why?
So it's actually, I was about to leave it. It's not really a long story, to be fair.
Basically you were just moving mad on Twitter. And you ratioed them like multiple times.
Yeah, when they signed Mazepin,
you were going in.
You're being
I was going in, and they weren't pleased.
He was being a bit of a hassle. Well, look, because I think Jenson Button, there's a quote from Jenson as well, I read, he thinks that, I think Max Verstappen is the fastest driver that has ever driven an F1 car. I really do. Jenson Button. Now, obviously, if Max is truly that good,
I mean,
he's not as good as Damon, right?
No, of course not. But look, it's one of those impossible questions to answer, isn't it? It's like we can't
help ourselves but ask it.
You have to ask it, but you can't compare people from different generations as well, because, I mean, Max is, if you're familiar with sim racing and the world of sim racing, I don't know if they still use the term, but back when it's sort of in its infancy, they used to call people aliens because the stupid fast people were aliens, right? He is an alien, he is I think he just does it without even knowing how he does it.
He's one of the best sim racers in the world as well.
He probably fully understands how he's doing it and knows exactly how to set up a car to he wants to drive and to get the best for him. It's really easy when you've got not putting him down. Relatively easy when you've got something like a Red Bull and an engineering designed car to set up, and an engineer like Lambiasi to help you do that as well. It is just an unbeatable trio in my eyes, and he is one of the fastest guys that has ever lived. There's no doubting that whatsoever. And I'm sure, there's a Twitter account I follow, F1 Statistics, that does quite interesting kind of stats and stuff. And one of the things it's kind of like one of the things I really find fascinating is Lewis Hamilton's stats, right? And everyone's going to call me a Lewis Hamilton lover now. Everyone seems to think,
we go.
Funny, here we go. I'll put my hat in that one. they used to call my dad like Lewis Hamilton hater, and now we call him Lewis Hamilton lover because he hates Max Verstappen. So yeah, it's just ridiculous. Like, he's a pundit. This is what he does. This is his job. It's just, I've forgotten where I was, to be honest.
No, Max Verstappen being an alien.
He's an alien. Yeah, he is just an alien, and he's one of the fastest people that has ever lived, and definitely one of the fastest guy on the grid. And again,
I think we'll appreciate this more in time.
The stats, sorry, that's what I was going to do. Yeah, exactly. So although, like, you know, you see some Lewis Hamilton stats, and you go, that is just ridiculous. Like in 300 and something races that he's done, he's DNF 28 times or something like that, and he's only missed the points like less than that. Like he's scored in basically every single race he's ever finished. And he's only not finished 28. So when you put it like that, it's mad, right? And when you put it as a percentage, it's so far above everyone else. Like as a DNF ratio, it's just so far above everyone else. And Max had, you know, a turbulent start to his F1 career that kind of put that stuff like that in the kind of you know, it kind of tarnishes his record book, so to speak, at the start of his career. But like, given enough time, he'll surpass so many. I mean, he already is. He's close to getting Vettel's record of 9 races in a row. Yeah, he's helped Red Bull get 14 that in Zandvoort, in a row.
He can match it in Zandvoort, beat it in Monza potentially. It's great. But, and that's the thing as well. Like, people use that against, you know, Lewis, and I've seen people try and use that against Max as well. Like, oh, they've always had like top cars, and I'm like, well, yeah, but Lewis literally came in as a rookie and like matched Fernando Alonso, who just won 2 world titles. Like, well, you're not going to put him in a fucking in a Minardi at the back. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, and same with Max. Like, he came in at Toro Rosso and made that car, you know, he did a much better job than Carlos first year. Like, he's only going to merit a better car.
Yeah.
You know, there's a reason they swapped him for Kvyat, because they were like, we need to give this kid an opportunity straight away, and he won on debut. So you know, the best drivers are going to get the best cars most of the time.
100%. That's the way it works. I mean, as frustrating as it is to watch for some people, that's always how F1's worked.
Yeah,
it's not like you can buy your way onto the grid. Getting to the best car is another thing. Like, you can do some business deals and sort of move things around and stuff like that. And if you kind of level pegging with a driver, you might get the seat as well. There are certain things that you can swing it in your favor, that they can swing it towards you know, a bit more. But like, at the end of the day, the team wants that you're another part of the car, right? They want the fastest thing in the car, and that's going to be the fastest driver. So, you know, if you're the fastest driver, you get the fastest car.
You don't need a pay driver.
Yeah, I mean, some people do. Red Bull probably don't.
Yeah, they don't.
And so they're kind of free in that choice, that they can just pick the fastest guy, and that really helps them. And that's why they kind of just, as well, it just seems like this revolving door situation with the other seat is like, because they don't need to worry about who's paying the bills, you know, they've got that covered, so they can kind of just go swap them around. It's done. So it's
that's the sport. Like, there's certain things you just have to accept, that it's not a spec series, and you're going to get this variation. And hopefully, again, like, I've got faith that next year's going to be, maybe it's cope, but it was always going to take at least 2 years for these regulations and this cost cap to somewhat, you know. And again, we've had field spreads within a second in Q1, which we've never really had before.
Yeah,
you know. And again, like, yes, Max is dominating at the front, but the remaining 19, if you're including Checo, there's a scrap to be, there's a story going on. And it's like, you know, back at times in the 90s, 80s, throughout the sport's history, you'd have someone dominate in the front, and then everyone else is still split by like a minute. Whereas like, that's not the case now. So there is, at least, that's why, again, when is it boring? Yes, we don't have that competitive fight at the front, but there is still plenty of racing to enjoy.